Andrew Yang wants to talk about it, but Sandra Oh said that SNL comic had to go. White people, listen to me. No blackface, ever. Let's talk about Justin Trudeau. It's not the video games, but of course, racial bias still matters in gun violence. I'm Jamal Simmons, and this is why you should care. Comedian Shane Gillis sent the entertainment world into a tailspin this week when first he was hired by Saturday Night Live, and within days, he was fired. Old material was discovered where he had used racist and homophobic language and even used a fake Asian accent. Presidential candidates Bernie Sanders and Andrew Yang were not spared, with Sanders' Jewish ethnicity being added into the mix. Andrew Yang responded that while the language was offensive, he wasn't interested in Gillis losing his job at Saturday Night Live, and he offered to meet the comedian to discuss. But SNL fired Gillis anyway. Yang's response was in stark contrast to Canadian actor Sandra Oh, who has Korean roots. She praised Gillis' firing on Twitter. Glad to see NBC SNL decision not to legitimize give platform to purveyors of racist, homophobic content. Risks? Lazy ass unoriginal. My colleague Crystal Ball spoke with Andrew Yang about the controversy on Rising. They were right here, and here's a sneak peek at what he had to say on the topic.
I think in this country we become excessively punitive and vindictive around statements that people find offensive. That should not be necessarily a fireable offense, particularly if you're in an entertainment industry, which is something of a gray area of this kind of expression. This is at least where I came down.
Yeah.
And because I was personally called out as one of the people that he called these epithets, I said, look, I should express my point of view. I thought it could be a teaching moment and be positive if we can make it that.
More of that interview will be posted this weekend. Obviously, there are differing views on the subject. And why should you care? American culture has become tougher on past indiscretions, but we're still figuring out the rules. Does it matter who committed the foul? Should comedians be held to the same standard as politicians? Comedians are similar to the court jesters of old who poke fun at the monarch and royals in ways most commoners never could. It's funny when people who are out of power poke at people who are in power. But usually, when someone with more social, political, or economic standing pokes at someone with less, it's not funny, it's just mean. And now, Justin Trudeau's faux pas. Photos surfaced this week of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau dressed in brownface in 2001. Time magazine obtained the photos of the then 29-year-old Trudeau at an Arabian Nights-themed gala. He painted his face, neck, and hands brown while dressed in a mock turban and robes. On Wednesday, Trudeau offered an apology. He also acknowledged wearing blackface makeup in high school while singing the Banana Boat song, a Jamaican folk song popularized by Harry Belafonte. Then, a video surfaced this morning. This time, the Prime Minister was dressed in blackface from head to toe. This was reported to be at some point in the 1990s. Global News first published this video and verified it. This is bad for a beloved liberal prime minister who'd become known for his progressive and inclusive views. These new revelations make Trudeau yet another high-profile person who's helped to perpetuate racist stereotypes by putting on blackface. You remember when Virginia Democratic Governor Ralph Northam got caught out there. So was Republican Alabama Governor Kay Ivey. Both are still in office. Now, why should you care? In his apology, Trudeau said everyone makes mistakes, and that's true, everyone does. So should he be given a second chance? What mistakes are forgivable? Does it matter what the person has done with his or her life after the offensive thing? Why did he wait until photos surfaced to admit his mistake, even after the Northam episode? If nothing else, Trudeau is certainly guilty of bad judgment when he was younger and today. Guns are one of the most politically charged issues facing the country today, and like so many other issues in our country, racial bias has reared its head. A new report finds that the media portrays suspects of gun violence differently depending upon their race. It seems the media is more likely to cite video games as a factor when the shooting suspect is white. But when the suspect is a person of color, factors like upbringing or their neighborhood are more commonly quoted. The new study, published in the journal Psychology of Popular Media Culture, analyzed thousands of articles concerning shootings that occurred in the last 40 years. Researchers found that articles were 8 times more likely to mention video games when a suspect is white. Here's why you should care. There's been insufficient evidence to suggest a link between gun violence and video games. So why do media outlets and politicians keep mentioning video games when it comes to shootings, and particularly mass shootings? Is policing video games easier than limiting access to firearms? Is blaming the personal failings and habits of white shooters like mental health and video game use easier than looking at systemic causes of white violence? One could argue all mass shooters are mentally ill, and family circumstances and personal failings matter in many decisions. The race of the suspect really shouldn't matter. What else matters is the availability of weapons with the capacity to kill many people in just a few seconds. Thanks for watching Hill TV on YouTube. Be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we post new videos, and head to thehill.com for all the latest political news.